7 continents, worldwide dominance. And by the time you catch wind, CB done expanded in a planetary with the mystic, intrinsic, kinetic, evolutionary. 20 finger string slingers got crews on the run, cause your way is all can't hang with styles of our guitars, horn section, blowing out that fire, but you can't touch admire. Put your mic on the shelf and just retire, cause the game will make the players.
Awesome. So, we are here, the Poetic Theater production and the Nuyorican Poets Café are honored to present tonight's special screening of Darian Dauchan and Brian Dykstra's This Doesn't Work. All directed and made possible by Margarett Perry. Give it up for Margaret. So the Nuyorican Poets Café has been around for nearly 5 decades. It started out in our founder's mother's 1-bedroom apartment, and it has grown to this, okay? Real quick insight, all the snapping. A lot of people like to talk about the beatnik era and the snapping, right? And during the beatnik era, when they were snapping, that was for rhythm. But in terms of snapping, instead of clapping, that started with the Nuyo, because they were in this 1-bedroom apartment. 40 people would come in, people would read their plays and their poems, everyone would clap, all the neighbors would get upset, call the fire department and the police, and then they'd kick him out of Miguel's mother's 1-bedroom apartment. So, in order to keep doing this and not get kicked out, they started snapping as a way of applause. Now, I want to let you know, we are not getting kicked out tonight, so you make a lot of noise, all right? Like, make so much noise that the people in Staten Island who should have came tonight are hearing it, all right? We are going to be disturbing, plus we're fighting gentrification down here. But that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. We're here for the show. My name is Advocate of Wordz. I'm an award-winning poet, performer. I'm teach students. Thank you very much. I teach students how to talk their way out of detention. I curate a lot of shows here. And I love what I do. I literally get paid to talk shit for a living. And yes, there will be no censorship tonight. So, with that being said, later on in the evening, we are going to screen the film, or the film theater. I don't know, it doesn't work, but we're going to make it work tonight. This doesn't work. It's about to be, I think it was 31 minutes long, but before that, we're going to give you some poetry and some people coming up here performing, and I'm really happy to see people here, especially after the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, like all things, the first thing to go was the arts, and the last thing to come back was the arts. So every time we have a show in this space, I am so happy. So thank you for coming out. Thank you, Margaret, for kicking Darian and Brian's ass to make this happen and give us a reason to come into the cafe and come into my home. Before we move further, I do ask that you take out your smartphone or dumb phone, and you either turn it off or you put it on pleasure mode. Oh, this is going to be a good crowd. If you caught that joke, this is going to be a good crowd. So, like I said, we have a lot of great performers. For me, it's been like a mini reunion because I know a lot of these poets and performers who are rocking. The one person who I don't know is performing, I met earlier, and she's from the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx, so we in good hands either way, right? But kicking it off first is a woman who I've gotten to share a stage with. Many stages. I have worked at Lincoln Center with her. We were only supposed to be there for 2 years, me, her, and Darian. We were there for 8 years. Go us. This next poet is a poet, a singer, and lupus warrior from Brooklyn, New York, who has performed internationally, including Africa, she didn't invite me, Bermuda, she didn't invite me, Europe, she didn't invite me, and more. She didn't invite me to more. We've done shows together. All right. Widely known for featuring on HBO's Def Poetry, she has shared the stage with artists such as Jill Scott, Nas, Eric Benet, Dave Chappelle, and more, including Darian and Advocate of Wordz. Shanelle was spotlighted on The Rachel Ray Show, was listed as one of Blavity.com's artist activists. You should know she has a ton of information in her bio. What I want you all to do is after the show, make sure you speak with the poets and the artists so that you can find out more about their bio, because we are here for the art. So let us call her up, the executive director of Urban Word. Ladies and gentlemen, kicking off the evening, give it up for Shanelle Gabriel!
everybody. It's been forever. I have not been in this space in forever, and this is where I got my start back in 2006, even though our Slam Team photo is not posted up there. Just so you know, I was in there. I wasn't here. So thank you for allowing me to be able to be here. I've not seen Brian, and I've seen, honestly, I haven't seen any of, like, quite a few people in this room in at least 10 years. So just glad to be here, Margaret. Thank you so much, everybody. So I'm going to share a few poems to kick this off, and I'm going to tell you my business, a little bit of stuff, some thoughts, and I'm going to share something new with you all. So we're going to have, well, it's new for some of you. All of my work might be new for some of you. So I'm going to kick it off with this poem, because we're in a very cultural institution. I'm going to kick it off with some of my culture. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. That's where my family is from. Trini, yes, from the islands. And I was asked to write a poem for Father's Day for my father, and try to think of a moment to really capture my dad and who he is. And this moment came to mind, and this is a true story, and it happened around Labor Day, which is the West Indian Day Parade season. Labor Day is family reunion to me. My blood runs thick with Trinidad TNT, so my daddy tells me to meet him on a late August day in Brooklyn. I know who I'll see. I'll see him, and he partners and them. See, this time was no different. He introduced me to a man and his son. The son eyeballed me like I was a Junie mango as he said, "Wow, Mr. Gabriel, your daughter is mad beautiful." Tried to holler at me in front of my father. My father paused to see my reaction. The boy's father laughed and made an interjection between the failed pickup line and the dead air. He said, "Son, you better watch what you say to Clyde's daughter. The man has a gun." He said this for fun, but everybody knows my dad has one. And the son's mouth was emptier than when a party was over. As my father put his unironed hands on his shoulder, he said, "Young man, to tell you the truth, you don't have to worry about me, 'cause I taught my daughter how to shoot." And this poem goes out to the daddy's girls whose father taught them to take shots of Grey Goose long before the legal limit, so you know not to go back to a glass you left and walked back to. Who showed up at school when that little boy hit you and none of the other little boys ever bothered you again. This poem goes out to the daddy's girls who know the statistics, but whose experience was different. Whose father taught them to walk on the inside of the street because you aren't for sale. Daddy's girls whose mom bust the tail when they misbehave, but the true moment of fear came when "I'ma tell your father" was said. Because every daddy's girl know when mommy says no, daddy always says yes. See, my mother taught me how to be nurturing, how to love everyone else outside of myself. But see, my dad, he had swag and confidence. Told me not to think it vain to give myself compliments. Taught how to balance the emotional me with thinking logically. See, this goes out to all the daddy's girls who still call their father at 3:30 when their car won't start after they've left the party. Daddy's girls who gone to school with their hair in a lopsided ponytail because clips and bows only made him more confused. Daddy's girls who are taught to create the perfect blend of fear and admiration. Taught how to shoot vodka without the chaser. Dads who taught that the man should be the one to chase you. Who raised their daughters like sheltered sons, that made me appreciate old westerns and the NBA, whose father told them to go for their MBA even though they barely made it past the 12th grade. Kryptonite to cavalier boyfriends didn't scare them all away, only the ones whose casual attire and career goals didn't make sense. See, this poem goes out to the daddy's girls. This poem goes out to the daddy's girls who know that sometimes a woman scorned can make a bitter mother. Mothers that think that their failed relationship should end the ones that fathers have with their kids, wishing they could suck out his DNA like it was poison and erase any trace of lineage from their kid's face. This goes out to the daddy's girls whose father may not have stayed, maybe played the heck out of their mom, but while he didn't give her the love and respect she was due, he gave it to you. And he showed you what a man should and shouldn't do. Daddy's girls who know that perfection isn't part of the human equation, that it's easy to miss the bullseye, and even if he messed up more than a few times, you appreciate the time he took before he closed his eyes to try. To my daddy, it seems the older I get, the more I think we look alike. Although I was born high, young, you're more like quarter to midnight. Skin rough like Chaguaramas Beach, voice vibrates like steel pan melodies, sandpaper skin singing within the crevices of the present me. I swear I'll never grow too old for nicknames, and I'll still open the car door for you from the inside, and I never believed in your infallibility. Maybe that's why you're still untarnished in my eyes. I love you for all you taught me. You taught me how to shoot, but on most occasions, to put away my gun. So you taught me how to whine, how to get my way without whining, how to be wined and dined. The first man to call me beautiful and to look at me in awe. See, all these dudes get their lines from you, so it takes more than suitors' speeches of silk spilling from slick jaws to get me to pause. You set the bar high for anyone wishing to take their place as the man in my life, and whoever it is that I deem worthy to bring will be a reflection of you, in honor of you. He'll be my Prince Charming, but you'll still be my king, because I'm a daddy's girl. Gunning down tales of all black men being absent or in jail. Firing at tales of deadbeat dads and deadbeat males. Your love for me, my love for you was living proof that there's still a few strong women like me out there whose dad's aim in life was to teach them how to shoot. Thank you for allowing me to share that with you. Thank you. So I love storytelling because that's what I do. I'm one of those people like, let me tell you what happened. So then they walked down the street. Like I was always very animated. So I'm gonna tell another story. This poem is it's written in 3 parts. It's called Black Girl Literacy in 3 parts. I'm finishing up my master's at Teachers College, Columbia, and I got to take a class that literally was about literacy for black girls and all-encompassing girls. And it made me write these stories, and I put them all together. We share sermons on this bench. Actually, give me a pre-med. Just a little. These are different phases and different spaces of me existing as a black woman in life. So this first phase, we start off when I was in high school, and this is very much me and my best friend. We share sermons on this bench, on Eastern Parkway and Nostrand, claim the spot to be our daily tabernacle, wearing our summer's best tanks and Timbs, kicks and crop tops. We are dressed for our devotional bread. We feed each other parables of high school escapades, lessons learned at lunch tables. We pray to God that someone is not pregnant, that he calls, and that we are not out of daytime minutes. We fast until her mother arises from the subway like Jesus on the 3rd day, paying tithe to the building fund, foundation for our temples, the lettuce, mayo, cheese, no tomato, salt, pepper, vinegar, and boar's head turkey hero, because God said he'd withhold no good thing from his children. This bench is where we testify. This is Booty Shorts Fellowship, where we study ourselves to show ourselves approved to be alive and found holy and whole in our brown girl bodies. And we pray that we will commune together forever and ever. Amen. 2, I hear his privilege before I see his face. A grown man's request in the cursive of demand. Yo, what's your name, shorty? This girl has her weight thrown against the subway pillar. That weight may be 100 pounds, though through the mask I assume she was maybe a preemie 15 years ago. He is speaking and she is not. Her friend with the same small frame is not. He assumes it is due to his mask. He lowers it, like she needs to see his mouth to know that her place is to listen. He is confused, that she is not honored, bothered that she does not gift him with her name. Does she not know how to respect her elders? This grown-ass man leaning into this teenage girl who leans into the subway pillar, whose friend leans on her left leg as I lean into the anger that scratches against my tongue, ready to crack the air the moment these two that I've now branded my little sisters call me to. She says her name is behind a door he is too old and too ugly to walk through. She walks away, all the jewels that he assumed belong in his palms. He belches, "You ain't that cute," as if convincing his pride to remain swollen, and I ensure he hears my wholehearted judge and jury of a laugh as he walks by, as they switch places. He, the child stomping away, they, the girls learning that the slow tongue of childhood is not afforded to black and brown girls. 3, my sister. She is all about acrylic and anime, bringing blessings, banishing bad vibes, belly full of jokes and cheap wine, always gathering, always collaborating, crafting comedy over brunch and beats, contradicting conjurers of lies that say that black girls are dramatic, dragging each other, no, lies that they are all fire, fist fighting, grabbing glasses of water to hurl on all hurt inside, told to smile why. If man's mere presence is inspiration, told her mere intonation admiration is insult. Told, keep quiet, kneel and kill your spirit, she resists. Fights to need the knowledge that will lend to the lengthening of her life. She is learning to love the less in her and the more. Finding magic in her melanin, meditating on mothers of movements, net and not themselves. In her DNA, she negates the negative narratives, oscillating outside and within. Her potential, her potent potential is unquantifiable. Realizing reality is shaped by the world she decides to create. She is sensitive and strong. Her sacredness will no longer be sacrificed to save those who only seek to take. She can take off her crown and throw down. Thinks of her heart as a talisman, an uncut diamond used to being under a microscope, unabashedly unique and unalterable. She is ultraviolet light, visions vast and piercing, wide world wondering, a woman withholding nothing, learning to expect all things and X out anything that doesn't yield her happiness. Black girls reaching past the zenith of their dreams. Black girls, black girl, black woman, black, you are everything. Thank you for allowing me to share my poems with you tonight.
Shanelle Gabriel. If you want more of Shanelle, you can speak to her after the show, or you can go to her website, ShanelleGabriel.com. Make sure that you go check it out. Listen to more poetry. So cool to listen to you. I haven't heard you in years. Good to see you, sis. Also, I want to let you know that if you enjoyed tonight's show, which you will, we nod our heads, if you will, and you want to see it again, which you will, and you want to show all your other friends who couldn't make it, which you will, it is going to be up on the Nuyorican Poets Cafe's Facebook and YouTube page, so you'll get to take a look at it at tomorrow. We do hope that you please spread it out and let everyone know about what's going on, because Margaret worked so hard to try to put this together, and unfortunately she was stuck with Darian and Brian, so make sure we do Margaret the favor. And Jeremy too, because he's taking your pictures to piss off your exes. With that being said, let us move forward to our next poet. I appreciate you guys laughing at me with my dad jokes. But like my kid says, dad jokes are rad jokes. Yes, they are, son. Yes, they are. Okay, so, oh wait, I am lost. I'm a little lost here. Here we go. We will edit that out of here. Boom, here we go. So, our next poet, representing the Bronx, my home borough. This next performer is an interdisciplinary artist, exploring in and creating for the realms of poetry, music, theater, and dance. Recently, they performed their original piece, Scribbled Lines, at Alchemical Studios as a recipient of the New York City Artists Corps grant, presented by Poetic Theater Productions. They have been in numerous productions. They are a graduate from RCNG with a double Bachelor of Arts degree in literature and theater. They have a long bio. If you want to know more about this poet, this performer, you can find them on Instagram, Mistress VVEE. Without further ado, help me welcome to the stage Vanessa Rappa. Give it up as Vanessa comes to the mic. Keep clapping. Keep clapping. Keep clapping.
Hey, everybody. I'm hella nervous. That's why I'm smiling. So yeah, hi, cool. I'm gonna share some poems with you tonight. Let's relax, let's loosen the jaw, let's unhinge this shit. So, this first poem I wrote for a virtual open mic night for New York Theater Workshop. So I figured, yeah, why not? We're talking about things that don't work, but that one worked and it was dope. New York Theater Workshop, just like over that way. It's called Not Available. All I seemed to do was consume. Should come as no surprise that my eyes were disguised as vacuums. Won't you zoom in and tune in, continuing to clue in and clock in that screen time to run away from me time? In dreams, I'm invited to the back of my head. In time, I can scoop up the lives I've lived in bed. In the multiple movies, moving me, molding with emotions and loaning them onto language ships to push over my oceans. Crash, 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 this body's not available. Intentions of goodness and self-love are now declarable. Touching through tech, I feel your words are wearable, unbearable for now. But I'll see you soon. All I can do is consume. But time lets me resume the tune of reconstruction, set aside destruction. At my own tempo and at my own pace, I welcome my space and recognize the displacement. All I can do is embrace me, finding simple joy that I used to not see. Whenever I would flee to the subways or miles of streets, staring down at concrete and following my feet, staring down at concrete and following my feet at a New York pace to get to the place, to do the thing, to win the cash, to pay the bills after busting my ass, to hit the streets, grab a drink or something grabs me and I don't have to think, to catch on a feeling and follow a face at a New York pace, to get to a place, to complete a task or a duty you're calling in such a hurry you trip and you're falling, step into shit you don't know you stink, running like hell so you don't have to think, moving like mad so you don't have to think, stuck in the motions you don't have to think, so you don't have to think, so you don't have to think, so you don't have to think. In dreams I'm invited to the back of my head. In time, I can scoop up the lives I've lived in bed. In the multiple movies, moving me, molding with emotions and loading them onto language ships to push over my oceans. Crash, 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 this body's unassailable. Intentions of goodness and self-love are now declarable. Touching through tech, I feel your words are wearable, unavailable now, but you will meet me soon. That was one. I got the shakes out, so here's poem number 2. So the cool thing about the arts and theater and poetry and like all this cool artsy-fartsy shit is that it helps me tap into my more vulnerable parts and connect with other people. So yeah, this next one is called Paul's Poem, and I'm kind of vocal about all of like the shenanigans and the shit that went all up into my brain parts. And if something speaks to you, I hope it does, and if it doesn't, I hope you can share it with other people. And if you don't care for it, whatever, I'll be done soon. Relax. Oh, thanks. Paul's Poem. I sent a text to someone whose phone will never be on. He was a friend, and for the past now 5 years he's been gone. I know that meeting in a hospital and struggling to eat a meal is not ideal, but crazier circumstances would have led us to other rooftops, inhaling nicotine and expressing our depression. The multiple confessions that we shared when we dared to open up, the disgust when they poured boost in our cup, the trust that someone knows what I mean when I say nothing. You got this, was what we'd say when an obstacle got in the way. Well, the demons decided, motherfucker, right here, I will stay, I will choke you. I know you, I'm everything you need. You can try to cut me off, but please, remember, I don't bleed. You got this was like a chant every time we said, I can't. Keeping pace in this race, but stumble crazy, crooked slant, unstable at the table, unable to shake how I feel, so utterly disappointed when I don't complete a meal. I miss you, Paul. And when I went to PHP, you finally got your phone back, and you'd send pics to me, and I would send some pics back, and it was so good to laugh, especially after they took our morning stats, making sure the numbers were at our backs, and attacked to fight the voices that told us how much we lack. Experience told us that our coping mechanisms are incisions that inhibit our ability to heal. Refusing the food they put in front of you and choosing not to chew into what's slowly eating you. Cognitive behavioral therapy was pretty good to me, but my insurance had run out and I was forced to IOP, and I was angry on the plane ride home, away from Colorado. And the moment that I settled home, I settled in a bottle and I poured myself into the motions. Therapy every day, any chance to make it look like everything is A-okay. It wasn't just the 30 pounds of weight I had applied or the multiple appeals to stay that had to be denied. The persistence of my sickness made me think it was a friend, and I'm not ready to let go of what may bring me to my end. You tried to pluck me out like all the gray hairs on your head. But I will gladly eat you up and make you wish that you were dead. Well, everyone around is talking positivity, but I am positively sure that you will not get rid of me. I've been with you for far longer than you've been alone. I have settled into your flesh and into your bones. I know you cry behind your songs. So sing softly and sing to me, 'cause I know you, and you want to hurt me by hurting you. And my vocal cords are always raw, a chance to not forget the smell of vomit and remorse I try to hide with cigarettes, or funny banter and a smile, or a change of conversation. Well, it's not often that I get to share some personal devastation. Thank you.
Keep giving it up, Vanessa Rappa. Give it up for Vanessa. You can stalk Vanessa on Instagram once more, Mistress V, V-E-E, or vanessarappa.weebly.com. Now listen, all of you are being very polite. You're writing nothing down because you're paying attention to me, which means in a little bit we're going to take a break and you can speak with all the artists. But we got some more poetry for you. Next, coming to the microphone, I really am enjoying this night because, like I said, this is like a mini reunion for me, and this is someone who I haven't seen in like 6 or 7 years. Our next performer is an actress, spoken word artist, writer, and director. She started her journey over 20 years ago at the Nuyorican Poets Café. She is featured in the award-winning film The Tribe, which was selected for the Sundance Film Festival, the Tribeca Film Festival, and the Jewish Motifs International Film Festival in Poland in 2000. She has done so much. Again, another long bio, but we didn't come here to hear all the bios. Speak with the artist afterwards so you can give them a follow. Start putting your hands together as we bring Vanessa Hebrew Mamita Hidary to the microphone.
What's up, everybody? It has been a long time since I have been up here on this stage. And as Wordz said, wait, give it up for Wordz, everybody. Give it up for our host, who I've known for many years. And what can I say? This place has magic, and I'm really happy to be back here. Thanks, guys, for having me and getting me out of mommy world and bringing me downtown. Appreciate it. So a while back, as a lot of people were, I was taking stock of my life, and I decided to make a list of all the things in my life that I'm good at and a list of all the things in my life that I'm bad at. I'll admit I'm kind of a glass half empty type of person, so I'll share my things I'm bad at list first. Things I'm bad at. Math, especially word problems. Sports, especially catching balls. Sewing, especially threading a needle. Jigsaw puzzles, especially with more than 4 pieces. Relationships, you've seen my shows. Footnotes and bibliographies. Cooking chicken that's not boneless. Nature, yes, all of nature. Cutting a whole pineapple, applying winged eyeliner, opening childproof Tylenol, sketching a still life, cracking lobsters, typing, sitting still in the sun, following directions when streets aren't numbered. World history, what country fought in what war and who won. Geography, identifying oceans and continents. Reading in a car without feeling sick. Peeling apples. Things I'm good at. Performing, putting my hair in a bun. That's it. That's fucking it. I cannot convey strongly enough how terrifying it is to be this old and to have this to be your complete skill resume. The good news is, a few days later, I remember 2 more things to add to the things I'm good at list. Making lists and anything related to doctors. Scheduling doctors, finding doctors. Skills that became very helpful when I spent 4 years trying to get pregnant and going to lots of doctors. Lists and doctors. I make doctor appointments and lists. I make lists of the doctors I need to see. I make lists of the questions I need to ask the doctor. I press 2 for billing and get shit done. New York Magazine's Best Doctor issue is my beach read. I mute the TV when the doctor calls back with my test results. I jot down what time I take my medication so I don't forget my dosing schedule. I always remember the time, but I'm responsible and make the list anyway. I use my stern yet polite alto phone voice when calling an office. It resonates low in my chest, not high up in my head. Yes, I'll leave a message. Vanessa. V as in Victor, A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, E as in eggplant. You get the drift. I'm a beast. My contact favorites include CVS and Mount Sinai Gynecology. My pharmacy manager, Colette, knows my date of birth without asking. Disconnected while on hold? I'm not deterred. I'll pick up the medical records myself if your office seems incompetent. I'm good at lists and doctors, following up and getting to the bottom of it. I am my mother's daughter. Wouldn't you know, there is not one doctor in my entire Jewish family. If there was ever an ethnic stereotype I'd pray for, it would be to have been born to a Dr. Goldman. It's a damn shame, I tell you, because no one appreciates a good doctor more than my family. No doctors, just a bunch of intense artists and teachers, not one single soul to diagnose a cancerous mole, but plenty of number 2 pencils, abstract collages, and New York Times subscriptions lying around. We make up for this genetic tragedy by cultivating the most doctor, task-oriented, efficient, on-time genes the world has ever seen. If any of us are running 5 minutes late to anything, call in the National Guard. My doctor research. It starts with bulldozing through doctor reviews on ZocDoc, Health Grades, Vitals.com, and Yelp. But there's nothing Jews love more than the personal referral. The personal referral is what binds the soul of my people. I set up a phone call with a friend of a friend who has a cousin who has a sister-in-law that had her miracle twins after finding her doctor. I add in some modern research techniques by following some of the doctors on Twitter and Instagram. Before long, I become a fan of certain fertility doctors like one does Beyonce, geeking out upon meeting them at my long-awaited consultation as if I'm backstage at Coachella. I finally decide on Dr. G. Why? His success rate is outstanding. He got my personal referral pregnant. At least 4 reviews stress the efficiency of the office. He wasn't trying to sell supplements. And lastly, which quite honestly sealed the deal, my personal referral tells me he corresponds with his patients via email. You guys don't look excited. Did you hear what I just said? There are now doctors that personally reply to questions via email. And I mean personal email, not just my chart. Game changer. Do you realize this almost completely eliminates the mandatory list of questions written on yellow legal-sized notepads schlepped to appointments? This blew my mother's mind. Wow, what a world! Now you don't have to sit home all day waiting for a return phone call. Lists and doctors, efficiency, details, competency, personal referrals. Yes, I am my mother's daughter. Guys, doesn't everyone want to go see a doctor now? No. So I was thinking about tonight's theme. This doesn't work. That's the theme, right? This doesn't work? Yeah. Okay. So I'm really embarrassed. I'm going to admit this, but for a few days I kept confusing It Doesn't Work with the name of the new Sex and the City reboot, and I kept thinking it was And Just Like That. So for like 3 days, I was like trying to find a piece that the theme was just like that. It doesn't work. And just like that. I don't know. Am I crazy? I think I'm on too much social media. Anyway, okay. So you know what else I feel like doesn't work? I don't know if you guys feel this way, but like catcalling, like on the street with masks on. Weird, right? Because I feel like you're so vulnerable with a mask on, and it's like so weird to be, trying to like kick it to someone. I don't know. But anyway, but pre-pandemic, I had a favorite street compliment that I'd like to reminisce about. Of all the street compliments I get walking down the street, God bless you, Ma, is my favorite. There's something about the word bless that feels magical and mystifying. God bless you makes me feel pretty due to the tap of a wand, like God is throwing sparkles on my precious and holy head. God bless you feels Christian and dangerous to my Jewish ears. Conjuring up white wings, yellow Easter eggs, Glinda the Good Witch, and those Sears pictures Catholic children get taken at communion with soft cloud angel backgrounds. But this line is only good when a guy does a classy God bless you, Ma, as opposed to a slurpy God bless you, Ma. All right, so I'm gonna break it down for you. A sleazy, slurpy God bless you, Ma goes down something like this. A group of men, anywhere between the ages of 15 and 75, are assembled on a corner outside a store, barbershop, nightclub, or parking garage. They are thoroughly engaged in a passionate, loud discussion regarding sports or last night at the club. You women begin to walk past group, usually trying to look busy or concentrated. Fake cell phone talking is a solid alibi. Hello, I'm talking to no one. I'm talking to no one. You are discovered, usually by the fat, loud one with a baldy while he's in mid-sentence. Yo, did you see Judge hit that shit out of the stadium last night? Bow, bow. That motherfucker must have been drinking some muscle milk or some shit, cause oh my God. God bless you, ma. Silence. The glassy-eyed stare with lips slightly agape. Alert, alert. And at this point, the skinny one in the crew with a cap to the side, leaning on a car, chewing on a soda straw, suddenly stops and lets it rest on his lower lip for a second. You are in code red Slurpee God bless you ma scenario. You see, it's that non-verbal intro, that long Slurpee sucking in air noise that gives it all away, followed by the oh my God. Please note, there is never a D pronounced at the end of this God. It's always, oh my God. Lastly, you waddle past in your tight-ass jeans, knowing that you still have to survive the back glance, causing one last Slurpee sound. Please note, if you don't respond and you're drinking something like iced coffee, you'll most likely be inundated with, can I have a sip? Or the ever-popular, can I talk to you for a minute? Can I talk to you for a minute? Can I talk to you for a minute? This is, for some reason, always repeated 3 times in monotone with no pause. Also, on occasion, with dealing with youngings, the group clown might follow everything up with, oh, you like Starbucks, Mom? I can make you some of my Frappuccino Caramel Superfly Latte. And all his boys will all double over dramatically laughing with hands over their mouths and say things like, oh shit, you stupid son. While they are distracted by his unbelievable humor, you can escape around the corner. In summation, the Slurpee God bless you ma makes me feel like a headless horsewoman, a walking torso. The slurp factor conjures sleaze and sex on countertops, not fluffy white Christian things. The Slurpee God bless you is the reason why I'll never be caught dead wearing shorts in New York City. As a juicy-thighed pedestrian, I say nay to that. The classy God bless you is a totally different experience. It goes down something like this. Guys usually alone. It's very rare that classy God bless yous can be pulled off in groups or even duos. You woman approach the set. He-man discovers you, smiles, lays back in the cut, not overly eager or stressed to be noticed. He waits to catch your eye, looks you straight in the eye with a slight doe-eyed, earnest yet sexy look. And here's the clincher. He gently places a hand over his heart. And maybe I've imagined this part, but with a slight bow of the head. And no slurp or, oh my God, intro. Simply says, God bless you, Ma. You're beautiful. You know that? You're beautiful. See the difference? Oh, it's like Maria feeling oh so pretty and witty and wise in the dress shop, like flowy sundresses in Sicily, like the first dip in the Noxzema jar. Humbling, like men's caps off for the Star-Spangled Banner. Then I can smile sweetly, but not too eagerly, and say, thanks. And he'll say, have a great day, beautiful, have a great day. And I'll walk off into the C-train sunset like Isabella Rossellini. Voila, transaction done. How civilized and blessed. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you.
Keep giving it up for Vanessa Hidary, Hebrew Mamita. God bless you, Ma. You beautiful. You know that? Make sure, wait, HebrewMamita.com? VanessaHidary.com, that's the website. Make sure that you go, give her a follow, check out what she's doing. Or, of course, during the break, go speak to her. She is conveniently at the bar where our bartender, Steve, is, who makes the night better. Make sure you go see both of them. All right, we got 2 more performers, then we're going to take a mini break. And our next 2 performers are actually going to be in the film. First up is an award-winning solo performer, actor, and poet who has appeared on both Broadway and off-Broadway theater. TV and film credits include Law and Order, Nickelodeon's Bet the House, and the Lionsgate feature film Things Never Said, which I was also in because of said performer who's coming to the stage. Appreciate you, brother. He was a member of the 2006 National Poetry Slam team for the legendary Nuyorican Poets Café, was crowned the 2007 Urbana Grand Slam champion for the Bowery Poetry Club, was a 2008 artist for the Urban Word NYC in conjunction with the Dance Theater Workshop. A very long bio. Edinburgh in Edinburgh Fringe Festival, Music, Theater Matters Awards, and all that stuff. He has long bio. Make sure you speak to him afterwards so you can get the full detail. But we're here for the arts. Please help me welcome to the stage Darian Dauchan!
Hey, what is going on, people? People in a room with people. Who knew, right? So good to see you guys. Thank you guys for coming out. I'm gonna do just one piece. This is brand new because I have never done it in front of an actual audience. I've done it virtually, but this is considered new shit. So when we do something, there you go. See, some people know. So when we do something new, everybody says new shit. Can we try that? New shit? New shit! Thank you very much. So this is a poem written after a poem called Two Lovers on a Park Bench by Samuel M. Johnson, which was featured in Robert Wilson and Philip Glass's Einstein on the Beach. And I wrote this at a time when I was mourning the passing of a friend. And so I want to dedicate this to the legendary Mums de Schema. Yeah. How much do I love you, life? Depends on what day you ask me, right? Because sometimes life be like, let's see how Darian handles this one. And I'd be like, okay, life, I see how it is. That ain't right. Fuck you. And then life be like, here, this is also for you. And I'd be like, oh, a gift for me? I love you, life. And that's our relationship, over and 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 over again. A relationship, an existence of surprise, delight, and strife. The beauty, the ecstasy, the agony, and this is our story, the ebb and flow, the days when I show up and the days when I don't. When I don't give my best, life notices and responds, and the days when I give life my all, life notices and responds. And what I've noticed is that life wants our undivided attention right now. Not in the past, not in the future, but right now, and right now, and right now, and right now. All the cliches are true. Life is hard. Life is what we make it. Life is not promised. Life is how we see it. A pointless existence or life full of meaning and purpose. My heart chooses a ladder. I refuse to take it for granted. And so we are tasked with the task to love life for the adventure of it all, to acknowledge and accept the tears and relish the laughter, to put our faith in the understanding that there is something precious here, even when life can feel deeply unfair. And yet, in spite of all that, there is joy. There's pleasure. There's peace within the chaos if you are quiet enough to hear it, if you are calm enough to find it. And so you ask me, how much do I love you, life? With every fiber of my being, for you are the reason for my being. How much With all the millions of breaths, the millions of heartbeats, the millions of thoughts, the 5 million hair follicles, and the trillions of cells that feel compelled to live, to live, to live, to live, and to crave more life. How long will I love you? For as long as I can. Until that extended silence. But until then, let's make love. I invite you all to make love to life. May we caress the angles, massage the twists and turns, and give ourselves to as many moments as we can. Make love to life. And perhaps life will love you back. Thank you. And now, without further ado, no, you stay there, Advocate. I want to introduce this next poet. This is my homie, my don't you know me, my brother from another mother. Everybody, please show a tremendous amount of love. This was so much fun making, and I'm glad and I'm excited that you guys are going to be able to see this. Please, everybody, give it up for Brian motherfucking Dykstra! I love the blazer, too. He's trying to steal my style. So.
Darian wrote me an email saying we should wear blazers like we... I feel a little set up. Yeah. That's because when he said brother, so that's what brothers do. So I was trying to find something that would go with the theme of This Doesn't Work. And so I went back and I looked at everything I wrote, and I don't have anything that doesn't have to do with things that don't work. So I decided to pull out this new in that I've never read it in a room in front of people. So that's new. This is called Say Their Names 2. It's not just the one, it's the other. When your brother is killed, or your father or mother, when your sister gets shot, or your uncle gets smothered, there's a killer out there for us to forswear, to know, to beware, to at least be aware who that killer might be. They don't get no hashtag, they get no we are all. It's daunting how killers keep on keeping us small, how laws protect killer while pallbearers fall to their knees carrying a bevy of caskets that keep proving too heavy. It's haunting how killers duck out of their shame unless and until we remember their name. Officer Michael Slager shot an unarmed black man in the back when he was running away. Officer Timothy Lohman took a 12-year-old boy with a toy while he played. Trooper Brian Encina stopped Sandra for a busted taillight. Officer Terrence Mercadal and Officer Jared Robinette killed a grandson in his own grandparents' backyard, but the cop said it was dark. It was night like with a Kai when Officer Peter Liang took a shot because the stairwell was dark. Officer Christopher Manet shot a man who had slept in the park. Officer Shannon Kepler killed a teen for dating his daughter. I wonder what that kind of stupid shit taught her. Officer Derek Michael Shavin took an 8-minute knee. Greg and Travis McMichael lynched a man who was trying to flee. Detective Paul Headley, Officer Mark Cooper, Officer Gascardes Nora, Officer Michael Oliver took Sean Bell too soon. Officer Brent Lawing shot a kid who was holding a spoon. Officer Benjamin Scott shot a guy who died on the floor. Deputy Preston Norman shot a teen because he answered the door. Sergeant Marcus Everhard and Sergeant Howard Weems tased a man 14 times. Cop wannabe George Zimmerman took Trayvon, then got acquitted of crimes. Officer Brett Hankinson, Officer Jonathan Mattingly, Officer Miles Cosgrove, they didn't bother to knock. Officer George Clark and Officer Gerald Bush used their tasers to shock another man to death, while Officer Daniel Pantaleo used a chokehold to steal Eric's breath. Officer William G. Porter, Lieutenant Brian W. Rice, Officer Cesar Goodson, Sergeant Alicia White, Officer Garrett Miller, Officer Edward Nero, all drove Freddie to death. Officer Jason Rosenblatt, Officer Randy Rodema, what was it they thought that led to the death of Elijah from a ketamine shot? Say their names too. Plainclothes Officer Sean Carroll, Richard Murphy, Edward McMillan, Kenneth Boss, transit cops, John Kostick, Harry Boehner, Anthony Piscola. Say their names. Officer Stephen Spinella, Officer Royce Ruby, Officer Kyle Zemer, Officer Stephen Ferreria, Officer Geronimo Yanez, Deputy Daniel Willis, Transit Officers Johan Mersale, Officer Sean Williams, Reserve Deputy Robert Charles Bates, Officer Michael Rosefeld, Trooper Samuel Nassan, Corporal Ron Curry, Officer Gerald Rolfe shot a man who was running away. Officer Juventino Castro took a man whose hoodie was gray. There's too long of a list of the names we should say. Officer John Rogers, Officer Daryl Hutchins, Deputy Constable Francisco Ruiz. The training they're getting leaves them deaf to our pleas. Sergeant Thedrick Andrus, Officer Kevin Trong, Officer Kenneth Bowes. This list seems too long. This list is insane. Officer Chris Gann killed a wounded vet who walked with a cane. Officer Joshua Adams killed a coach at a basketball game. Officer Charlton Wampler, Officer Antonio Villegas, they shoot and they kill. Officer Mark Ryan capped a guy for holding a bottle of pills. There's tasing and torture and beating to death. There's chokeholds that choke out the last of your breath. There's restraining to death like a Gordian knot. But for 51 on this list, they just took a shot. And most of the cops on this list were unharmed. Well, all but 2 of the dead, completely unarmed. To be black in America, and you don't need me to remind you, there is no safe haven while another cop's killed by the aptly named Justin Craven. One last story to tell about a young Victor White. His story is dark, so we bring it to light. He was most certainly murdered by New Iberia cops in Louisiana. Officially ruled a suicide, a gunshot wound. Self-inflicted, they said. While in police custody, after having been frisked twice, they found weed the first frisk, coke and cigarillos the second, but never a gun. They missed the gun. You missed the gun? You're fired. You frisked a man twice, and twice you missed his gun? That's the story you're sticking with. Okay. You can't be a cop. You frisked a man twice. You found a small bag of weed, but you missed his gun. Are you the worst cop in the world? And the answer, unfortunately, might be yes. Victor White, 22. Was in the back seat of a police cruiser. So with a gun, they somehow missed. While he was handcuffed, behind his back, he shot himself in the chest. It is known in certain circles, certain cop circles, humorously, as a Houdini suicide. That's the term they use. It is not the only Houdini suicide out there. Say their names. Like almost everybody on this list, Sheriff Louis Ackle and his deputies in New Iberia, Louisiana, got away with murder. They murdered Victor White, and they got away with it. So far, let's keep saying their names too.
Brian Dykstra, keep giving it up for him, y'all. BrianDykstra.net. You can find all of his information at his website, BrianDykstra.net. Also, because Darian did my job, I didn't get to come up here and tell you can find Darian on DarianDauchan.com. So, right, we're about to take a break, but before we do, there are some people behind the scenes who I would like to recognize. I've been doing this for 20 years, which I know is crazy because all of you are like, you look 21. How have you been doing for 20 years? I appreciate all of you thinking that. You're going to heaven for it. But I've been doing this for about 20 years, and as an artist, I have come to realize it is super important to recognize the people behind the scenes who are working. So I would like to make some noise for our cameraman, William. Give it up for him. Thank you. I could think of like 3 exes who are going to watch this, and you are making me look good. I appreciate it. I'd also like to give it up for our sound guy in the DJ booth, Sean. Making sure we sound good. And I would also like to give it up for the person who's making sure that the film is going to look good on our projector today, and that is Aoife. Give it up for Aoife as well in the DJ booth. And last but not least, the man who cleaned the New York, set everything up for us to make sure we have a great show today. The man who also checked to make sure that you were on the list and you paid your money and you got your Vax card. Please give it up for Loco in the back. Appreciate you, Loco. I have been asked, because I am a poet, to share a poem. And then after I perform my poem, then we are going to get into what we have been for, where this doesn't work, right? It's working. Okay, so with that being said, because I am a poet, I, of course, have a love poem. So I'm going to share with you a love poem, and I think it is the greatest love poem I have currently written to date. So here we go. I turn acorns into bombs and play wingman at the barber. Make a motorbike out of bus seats and fly to lands that man don't bother. Slip down slides too narrow for a 6'1" body, just for the smiles I barter. All in the day's work of me hoping to become a better father. I got 1 billion yeses in reserve for when my son asks, "Wanna play with me?" I might let him curse on the low, but he will say please and thank you graciously. Like his pops, he tends to talk a lot, and he'll force you to learn how to listen patiently. But don't be alarmed if you see us walking down the street shooting imaginary laser beams. Pachoom, pachoom, pachoom. We like to do that. Every toy in the store that greets his eyes, I promise he's requesting. And I keep saying no until he starts asking the right type of questions. Because I can't always be there to be an immediate intervention. So even in between the Millennium Falcon and Death Star, I sneak in a lesson. I'll be damned if that next Lego set is built by I. Let him throw a tantrum and huff and puff and sit and cry. Let him hold his breath, even put his own finger in his eye. I purchase said item. I'll make him earn it, and after he throws his fit, he'll try. May he learn that people only truly support those who are doing for themselves. And we are all just one lost privilege away from living in a hell. So carry a big stick. But don't knock others' hearts off their shelves. Morals emit rings and karma hears all told bells now. I don't know how anyone in the cafe this evening sees the role of a parent. The end-all, be-all of raising a kid is not what I'm declaring. By no means am I some super dad who's ethereal seafaring. I just felt like the need for more sincere love poems as a parent. It has taken a child to make adult me feel self-conscious. Put me on the stage anywhere in the world, and Brian, I promise you I'm thinking, I got this. I can have slang sound proper, make malleable out of the obnoxious, but being charged to be the father of heaven's favorite comes with no manual I could stick in my back pocket. I show bravery when scared and hide the moon of fear behind the marble of courage. Indeed, mini-me has given me more than just a proverbial purpose. Yo, someone better tell Advocate of Wordz as someone's dissecting the validity of his verbiage. Every word, every connotation, every action is being broken down like Peter at a circus. So in closing, if my son wants to grow up and become a hippie who will cook and bake and griddle soy, Or a Nuyorican poet, still unwilling to deal with his own complexes like a fickle Freud. The day he steps out from under my shadow will be one of bitter joy, because although he is destined to become a great man, he will always be my little boy. I appreciate y'all for that. I appreciate y'all. That is, of course, about my son, Letters, because I'm words, he's letters. Ha ha ha, I am a poet. Okay, so let us get into, there's a couple of things that I need to read, and I want to make sure that I get to it all properly before the film starts. Here we go. So, what we are about to watch. Darian Dauchan of DarianDauchan.com and Brian Dykstra of BrianDykstra.net take their meta-theatrical comedy of spoken word poetry and politics to the legendary Nuyorican Poets Café. Directed by Margarett Perry. Two longtime friends have been commissioned to write a virtual play for a theater shut down due to the pandemic. Oh, that is very meta. It's been a hell of a year, and Darian and Brian are doing their best to create as they long to be back in front of a live audience, breathing the same air with their friends and fans. Make sure you stick around afterwards. We're going to do a Q&A, but without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for This Doesn't Work.
Let's do it.
Work, 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 work,
This doesn't work.
Which?
This
what?
This, what we're doing, this thing we're doing.
This thing?
Yeah.
This thing right now.
Yes.
How do you know?
How do I know?
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
We haven't even started.
We just started.
I mean, for real.
Haven't we?
Or, okay, but we just started just now.
That's right.
So how do you know it doesn't work if we just started?
Oh, no, not this. I mean, yes, this, but I mean in the macro.
The macro?
The larger sense.
I know what macro means.
Okay. I just mean this form, this online, whatever form.
What about it?
It doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't get us into this.
I didn't either. It was Margaret.
Okay, then.
But we're here.
That's what I was gonna say. But we're here, so yeah, this doesn't work. So let's figure, let's figure something out that does work.
Is that on us?
Did you get a commission?
I did.
Did you accept it?
I mean, yeah.
I did too.
Okay.
A commission to do something online, something like this.
Yeah, except this doesn't work.
I understand that. I do. I get it. This doesn't work. Not only do I understand that, this little thesis of yours, but I agree with it.
Little thesis? You do? You agree with it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So
what?
So do something else, or let's do something else. Both of us.
Like what?
I don't know. How about something that does work or has a chance? At least, here's my idea. Let's do something in this form right here, right now, that at least has a chance of working.
Well, that sounds,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it sounds good.
Great. Then let's do it. This is the piece, warts and all.
Okay.
Great. You start.
You want me to start?
Mm-hmm.
No, Darian. Darian?
Oh, right. Here.
What's...
Good luck.
No. Oh. Yeah, I mean, okay, you want me to, like a spoken word? Oh, I mean, Darian? Okay, I'll give it a shot.
This doesn't work. Doesn't that sound true? I mean, how many online theater events have you dropped into? If you only knew. I do. I'm through. And all you who do put yourself through this electronic voodoo, this chronic economic attempted comic online lifeboat, delivering some semblance of theater, a ghost of, at most, a remembrance of watching live lives happening live, alive in shared spaces, breathing life into an art form that requires your tireless listening, like a searching in church to these acts of contrition as actors act out on our own volition, the human condition, while positioned to wear our hearts on our sleeve, to try to conceive a way to achieve with no wish to deceive, a way to get you to perceive that which makes you believe. And one way we do that, we breathe together. Inhaling shared air, too scared of the exhaling. This doesn't work, not the same way. Our air isn't shared, not the same way. So, no, this doesn't work. No sense in crying. That's not going to stop us from trying.
Darian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? My turn?
God, I hope so. Oh, do I have to send back the folded piece of paper with a suggestion on it, like you did with me, reaching past the camera with the paper as you reach past your camera and bring the paper I handed you? I mean, isn't that the stupidest convention that doesn't actually, work in this whole entire form?
I didn't write it.
What?
No, I agree with you. I didn't write it. You wrote it. You wrote that whole thing where you handed the paper past the camera.
Okay, but
now you're acting like it was my idea. Like I just did what was scripted. Okay, what you scripted.
Okay, but I'm not the writer right now.
You're not the writer?
No.
You're what? What are you? The actor?
That's right.
Okay, but this is meta.
Meta?
Yeah.
No, I know it's meta.
I know you know. You know how I know you know?
Because I wrote this part.
Exactly.
So do I have to?
What? Pass the paper? Let's say yes.
Break a leg.
Whew. The hardest thing about all this is the absence of energy. Even right now, if I gave you all of me, what follows me? Nothing. Radio silence.
What do you do when call and response is no longer the reliance? Live performance is a science that requires the alliance of the performer and the crowd. Without the feeling of the crowd, the whole equation is now in doubt. You see, we feed on a group synergy, and without it, we lose some of our verbal wizardry. The recipe requires the simplicity of people in a room with people. The peaceful chatter of an audience, the anticipation, the invitation, the excitement of the invitement to a shared live experience in the present moment, in the body, 3 feet, up close and personal, where I can actually see a nostril. 5 senses fully validated and activated. The smell of the lady's perfume behind me, the sound of the guy texting on his phone next to me, the taste of my gum losing its flavor, the feel of this uncomfortable chair on my butt, and another guy's big old head blocking my view of the stage. Now we're talking. Now we're having a full body experience. And this coming from an introvert, exhibit A for how much this hurts. The revelation of how much we need each other, how much our actual presence means to one another. And so we adapt, scrapped claps and brought back Raising the Roof, which turned out to be pretty apt. Who knew through Zoom we'd share laughs and smiles, Brady Bunch style, show up pantsless to let your fam and friends know just how much you care through the format of Hollywood Square. Woo, it's been a hell of a year, living in an actual sci-fi reality, communicating virtually, altering our mentalities to new strategies of adaptability. Virtual being the most common used word in the 2020 century. Why? Because the year 2020 felt like a century. But I believe the light will come eventually. So we working with what we got until we finally in the same spot or in the same lot. I have a dream of the day I no longer see you on this screen, but in front of me. And we can once again embrace with glee. And the ultimate day being the one where I can say, okay, now you're too close to me. Face to face, same place, but personal space. Thanks.
That was great.
You don't sound convinced.
No, it was.
Thanks.
I have a concern.
Naturally.
No, but don't you?
Probably.
What's yours?
That your concern will derail everything that we're doing.
Okay, but what are we doing?
We're examining how things don't.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Is that a problem?
Isn't it? I mean, if we're looking at how things don't work, then something like a poem or a spoken word, poem. If we do one that works or arguably works, isn't that, or could that be a problem?
Well, what's the alternative?
The alternative? Well, we could,
post shit that we've constructed with built-in flaws so that the pieces who don't work in order to land in a place where things don't work in this context.
No, I get your point.
Hang on. Let's try it again with music this time, with some kind of underscoring or.
Wait, why?
Because that seems to work.
So you want to try things that do work.
As opposed to what?
I was kidding.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what, you're going to loop station under my next thing?
Loop station?
Or, whatever.
It's called live looping. And yes, that's the plan.
Yeah, I should dress for it. Or wait, there's some filters that might work.
We don't need any filters.
What about?
We don't need any filters. Those are all. They look terrible.
No, what's this? I don't even know what that is. That's like, okay.
It's like a comic book one.
Hang on. No. Here we go.
No.
That's like a cool
Brian,
shade.
we don't need any filters. If you want to do shade, we can do shades, but let's do real fucking shades, okay? Like,
oh,
do you have any real shades? Let's use some real shades. So we don't need any filters. No, don't use both. Don't use both, Brian.
Well, hang on, I gotta find. Where's the button? I got it.
See the real one.
No, I had to find the none filter button.
I got you. Listen, let's keep the shades real.
Okay.
Virtually. Okay.
All right.
We're keeping it real virtually.
All right, cool. So, okay. I'm ready.
So am I. Let's do it.
Are you starting with music, or am I starting with the thing you're going to join? I'll just start.
We're just gonna riff. We're just gonna have some fun. All right.
Okay.
Do it.
We went to the moon, and the Earth isn't flat. And the pedophile ring inside the basement of a pizza joint that doesn't have a basement might just end up being Marjorie Taylor Greene's secret screaming fantasy of all her hates, feeding Representative Matt Gaetz' post-pubescent creaming wet dreams. COVID isn't a hoax, but some people think it is. Wearing a mask doesn't activate COVID inside your body, but some people think it does. And Tom Hanks didn't team up with Oprah Winfrey, the Clintons, Adam Schiff, Bill Gates, Steven Spielberg, Barack Obama, and a Mexican cement company to hijack children for sex and drink their blood in order to ingest something called adrenochrome. And Monsters, Inc. isn't Hollywood telling on itself because somehow Pixar exposed that the plot of scaring kids in order to get energy is secretly what Hollywood has actually been doing. Monsters, Inc. is not a documentary. Nope. But some people think it is. There is no video on Anthony Weiner's laptop of Hillary Clinton and her one-time aide and Weiner ex-wife Huma Abedin performing a satanic sacrifice in which they slurpee a child's blood while wearing masks fashioned from the skin.
Wait, hold on, Brian.
What happened?
Stop there. They're doing construction.
Did your loop station malfunction?
Hold on, they're doing construction. Let me just close the window for a minute. Sorry.
No, but that would have been good. No, you close the window, but if your loop station were to malfunction, if it was technology that fails us and is the thing that does not work, then we have our antagonist, and it is technology.
Or
what?
You could just do another take.
But what are we leaving in and what are we leaving out?
Don't know yet.
Yeah, but if we leave it in.
Why will we do that?
Well,
just second take.
Okay. What, from the top?
Well,
what?
It's just
yeah.
Well, it's your argument.
What is?
What you're arguing? What that QAnon conspiracy theories don't work?
Yeah, because they're stupid when you look at them.
But they do work.
Are you trying to tell me that Darian Dauchan believes them?
No, Brian Dykstra. That is not what I'm trying to tell you. God, no, I'm not a moron. I'm saying they work if the target audience is a bunch of morons.
Yeah, but they don't work in the sense that, like, in the logic, reality, proof, evidence-based, logical, sane, real reality sense of what works and what doesn't.
Real reality?
Correct.
They weren't designed to.
So
maybe they kind of work the way they were designed to work.
Are you saying my piece doesn't work?
No offense.
No, but maybe that's really good thematically.
Fine.
Okay. So, what, you want to go?
Sure. You playing under me?
With what?
With the loop station, with your loop station.
I don't have a loop station.
Yes, you do.
No, this isn't. This is your old loop station.
Don't tell people that.
What? Why? I don't know how to play it or use it or whatever it is you do with a loop station.
That's okay. We'll loop something in later that makes it look like you do.
Well, how is that going to work if the people know that's what we're doing?
How will they know?
You just said it.
We'll edit this part out.
When?
Later.
Fine. You're up. Wait. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you hearing me?
What? Yeah.
Brian, are you there? Hello, hello, Brian, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Brian, hello. Not if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. I lost you for some reason. So not again, not if you can hear me. Not if you can hear me again. If you can. Okay, so that means it's me. So don't do anything on your end. Something's fuck, what did I do?
Well,
hold on. I'm gonna try another pair of headphones. Hold on.
How do we know it's you? Couldn't it could be my input. Let me see these things. Wait. Oh, I turned the loop station on. Maybe that's
Brian,
it.
I see you trying to look for, don't do anything on your end. It must be me. Hello, hello, hello. Brian, can you hear me? Hello.
I hear you. I hear you fine.
Nothing,
Testing.
nothing. I do not hear you.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna change microphones. Just hang on a second.
Okay. No. What?
I'm gonna change microphones.
But I can hear you. It's not your microphone.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello,
Yeah,
hello, Brian.
I can hear you.
Copy,
Even,
Brian.
yeah,
I still cannot hear you. And I don't know why the fuck I changed microphones. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, that's kind of. Oh, okay.
Hello,
yeah.
Brian. Are you there?
I am here,
Okay,
but
you're back. You're back. We're good. We got it. We're back. Okay.
Okay. No, that's good. I'm glad to know that.
Whatever. Let's just keep.
Okay.
moving.
Great.
I did, but we're back. So cool. Get rid of this one over. Throw this shit away. All right. We ready?
I am ready.
Brian, you there?
Yeah. Oh, you can't hear me again?
I can't see you now. Fuck.
I
can't see you. Did
but-
you do
but
something with the video filters or?
No, because I can see you. Wait, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
Why doesn't it matter?
Because I'm just looping underneath you, and all you need to do is hear me. You don't need to see me.
All right, whatever. Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Fine. Okay. We're gonna edit this part out. So this is not in the piece.
No, that's a good point. All right, so you jump in, and I'll join you.
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, America. Darian here. A few questions on why this isn't working. A little confused. Maybe we can clear some things up, yeah? So first up, right off the bat, so do we believe in democracy or do we believe in fascism? Which one is it? Because we can't do both. I'm feeling like some folks didn't get the memo from the last 200 years, the memo being the Constitution. Second question, what is this bipartisanship you speak of? Because I don't think I've seen that in the last, 12 years. But now I'm hearing all kinds of cray things, Sleepy Hollow talks of unity and if onlys. If only we could find some middle ground on fascism. If only we could find some middle ground on racism. If only we could find some middle ground on white domestic terrorism. I can't tell you how refreshing it is to have a president actually say the words white supremacy, to acknowledge its existence. Maybe that's what happens when you have an extraordinary black woman by your side whispering bitter truths in your ear. Great, I'll take it. Now can we do something about it? Have you gotten hip to the fact that most of this poem is rhetorical? Oh, good. So what do we do, Darian? What do we do? Good question. Thank you. Well, I'm thinking maybe we railroad through because not everyone's getting on the train. We do what any grown-up would do. We put Republicans on a timeout. A timeout for, maybe 4 years, maybe longer, as long as it takes, until they're ready to believe in democracy again, maybe? How about we stop being Charlie Brown? They're not gonna hold the football for us. We have the Obama bruises to prove it. Oh, and sidebar, why are we even calling this a filibuster, okay? I want to see these obstructionists talk till they can't talk anymore, just like I saw Jimmy Stewart do in the middle of the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Now that's a filibuster. You feel me? High five, high five, high five.
Whoa! Let me...
You still there, Brian?
Wait, yeah. Wait.
Damn it, it was going so well. Let's just, you know what? Let's go to the next segment. Damn, I hope I didn't fuck up my camera. Let's go to the next segment.
What? Right now?
Yeah, right now. Just take us out.
What? Would take us out? What does that mean?
Just
Take us
just
out.
cue us to the duet.
How do I do that?
We'll edit it. Just say duet, or it's duet time.
I'm not saying it's duet time.
Well, then just say duet.
Well, couldn't we just go to the duet? Why do we have to say it? Plus, I've already said it, and so have you.
Yeah, but it's cleaner this way, and you haven't said it in the right tone that sets it up.
Tone?
Yes, the tone. Look, the longer you don't do this, the more awkward it is.
Fine. Duet. Did that work?
No, because you didn't say it in the right tone.
Oh, damn it.
Try again.
Duet.
Now we're talking.
You know what else doesn't work?
What?
Her easy opening whole tab. That shit does not work.
To open, tear here.
Oh, please. Trickle down economics.
Yep, my dad used to say whenever they start using the word trickle, that means the working class is about to get fucked. You know what else doesn't work? Saying,
I don't see race.
yeah, that doesn't work anymore. Also,
Some of my best friends are black.
please stop saying that. Even if it's true, just stop.
Plastic doesn't work. Full stop.
Burning fossil fuel?
No bueno.
I think we've had enough natural disasters to prove it. Also, virtually singing together in real time.
Damn you, audio latency! The war on drugs.
Steven Seagal.
Candy corn.
Marshmallow Peeps. Title.
Yikes.
Sorry, Jay-Z.
Can't win 'em all.
Congress hasn't worked since there was a black president.
And not even during the last 6 years of that.
Getting things delivered to your lobby.
Not in the era of package thieves. Package pirates.
Now available on Disney+.
The filibuster.
Whataboutism.
Having a month-long trial for a murder everybody saw.
Impeachment trials apparently don't work.
The Bachelor.
I know. Heartbroken.
Gaslighting.
Appropriating progressive language like
Fake news.
or
The Million MAGA March.
Injecting bleach in your body to cure COVID.
And I hate to say it, but I have to agree with you. Do some of these things really not work? Because some of them do work.
they just shouldn't.
In a functioning democracy, they don't work, but in ours, sadly, they often do. Things like the both sides are guilty argument. I mean, if you shit in the cake mix and the other guy points out,
You shouldn't shit in the cake mix.
that's not an example of both sides participating in the shit that ends up on your fork. But here, now, all bets are off.
And there's the rub. What doesn't work for me might work just dandy for you.
And vice versa.
Does something have to work for everyone in order for it to work?
Doesn't something have to work in the sense that work means it's constructive?
Right, does it?
Current campaign finance laws work for rich assholes like David and Charles Koch to make the world a much shittier place.
And campaign finance reform might possibly work to make the world,
Better, but we would have to work to pass those laws before they can work in order that they work for us in ways that they would no longer work for, say, the Koch brothers.
the Walton gang.
Rupert Murdoch.
Clive and Bundy clan.
Or, little Donnie Trump.
Don't say that name.
I know. Redlining works. It just doesn't work for black people.
Gerrymandering works.
It just doesn't work for democracy. Minority rule works.
But it fucks with the rest of us. Citizens United works.
It just works too well for buying elections. The school to prison pipeline.
Super PAC exemption.
Gun litigation protection.
Dismantling pollution regulation.
Fracking. Attacking vaccines.
Online misinformation.
Threatening litigation.
Blaming the victim.
Heck, neonicotinoid pesticide works. It works for Monsanto. It works to stop pests from eating your GMO enhancer cornfields. You know who it doesn't work for? Pollinators! It doesn't work for bumblebees.
It doesn't work for monarch butterflies.
Or yellow jackets.
Or moths.
Ergo, it really doesn't work for any of us.
What we know is,
Either way,
whatever side you're on, right now is unsustainable.
for all of us.
So something's gotta give.
We gotta work to make things work.
Two guys complaining about things that don't work, does that work?
I mean,
I hope it works.
we hope it works. A little.
Guess we'll see. Brian, can you hear me?
Are we doing that again?
No, that bit's over.
Oh, well, then, yeah, I can hear you.
So listen, I was thinking for the ending, wouldn't it be great if we could come together at the end? You know, I've gotten my second vaccine shot. We'll have done most of the piece virtually, but then maybe at the end we meet somewhere.
But who's holding the camera?
What?
Well, the director is concerned about, I don't know, the visual language has been in a Zoom meeting, and then if we break it at the end, and then it would look like, I don't know, something about the visual language.
Well, what if she's holding the camera?
Okay, but how does that fix things?
Well, the audience will be prepped for it if we mention it.
Well, you mean in dialogue?
Yeah, like right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, now that is a good use of the meta.
Thanks.
Okay, so right. So if we're both on our phones, and then what? We meet in a park or somewhere?
Yeah, and then we just hug that shit out. You know, two grown men hugging a park. The end. I don't know. You think it'd be cheesy?
Maybe, but with everything that's happened and everything that's been going on, it might be good to end on a positive note.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Plus, in all honesty, I could use a hug.
Me too.
All right, then let's try it.
I'm vaccinated.
Bring it in.
Oh. Okay, Brian?
Yeah, D.
Too tight.
Better. I hope it works.
We hope it works.
Guess we'll see.
Keep giving it up for this. Does it work? As you can see, producer Jeremy here is bringing up the stools because we are going to invite up the two performers and the director. First, let us bring back to the stage Darian Dauchan. Give it up for Darian. Next, coming to the stage, his hugging partner, Brian Dykstra. Give it up for Brian. Oh, you guys really did hug. I wasn't sure if it was CGI or something, but you really did hug. It worked. It worked. And last but not least, the real reason we are here, the director, Margarett Perry.
No hugs? Oh, that was amazing. That was just amazing.
Here, you guys can have this.
That was crazy shit. Oh my God.
Check. Oh.
Here you go. Now I can talk.
Yeah, you got one too, right?
Yeah, I got one.
Sweet. We're good.
I got one right here.
Yay. All the mics work, but they may shut down at some point in the Q&A, right?
Let's hope so.
So, with that being said, why don't we start off with how did this begin? How did this project come together? Why did you do this, et cetera, et cetera?
COVID. Yeah. No, we were commissioned by a theater company.
This is all true.
This is all true. To do this, and without going into details, we sent them the first draft, and we were fired.
True story.
This is all true. Yeah.
We still love them, though.
Did you get your money first?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
Sure did.
Oh, okay.
They paid
Oh.
us.
So
They
it's all
got their
good.
money first. Okay.
So we suddenly found ourselves with total creative control, and it became a blessing in a way, and we just took off with it, and it was so funny because we had our first meeting about this is before we got fired, but we had our first meeting, and I think that I don't know who came up with the title, but the title was the thing that started. So initially, we got a commission to do a piece, basically a reading, during COVID, and I was just like, oh God, another piece of virtual theater. I just want to vomit. Like the whole form just makes me ill, But I've ended up directing 3 different virtual theater pieces during COVID, so something's going on. But we just kept talking about what doesn't work, and then the meta part of it was born. And I think it was just the most fun. We were just in our own little caves doing our stuff all on Zoom, and then of course we got vaccinated and then met in the park.
I was about to ask, like, how long was the process from the first time you started in terms of filming, to the point where we got to the hug in the park? Or is this just like, the genius of an edit that you started hugging first and then you filmed everything else? Like, what was the chronological order?
The chronological order was that Darian was moving, and so we were supposed to be the piece was to be delivered on May 15th originally by the original theater company. So we were on that deadline, and we had sort of made this deadline for ourselves, and then Darian was moving, and so we had one day where we could actually be in the same space with each other. So we actually filmed the duet in our apartment, and then we went out and shot the stuff, and the cherry blossoms were going. We were like, this is just too much.
Perfect.
And it was weird though, because the difference between the controlled environment of the Zoom, which is sort of its own thing, and then you suddenly find yourself shooting. The whole thing was shot on the iPhone or Zoom, right? You're suddenly, and I'm not a film director, right? So we're shooting on. We don't know what we're doing, and he's moving the next day. So we either get it or we don't. So we had so much coverage that then it took me how long? We didn't finish until mid-August, because I was like, Darian, I don't know, I'm re-editing, and then I'd shoot it off to him, and he'd be like, no. The notes coming back from him were amazing. I mean, no better partner in crime.
Only because I already do some editing, and I knew this was a new venture for Margarett as a theater director. So I just had some thoughts about here's how we can kind of tighten it up and
tighten it up. More edits.
Edits.
The duet has like 10,000 edits in it. He just kept more. It has to be more visually interesting. You have to keep going. And I was like, the duet's gonna kill me. And tonight we're watching, and I'm just seeing, oh yeah, that edit. Oh, the ghost thing. I was teaching directing on Zoom last fall for Muhlenberg College, and because you can't teach directing on Zoom, I decided to teach them how to direct on their phones, and so the kids taught me all these fancy tools, so that's what I used.
Well, what a beautiful thing, right? It's all about like adaptability. I think that's what I think was most amazing about that experience. Is what's most interesting about all these kind of pandemic projects is like it's forcing people to be like, how do we figure this out? How do we remain resiliently creative? And I think that was what was fun about making this piece, was like we have to at least try to do something that feels interesting to us as theater makers. So yeah.
So part of this really was filmed on Zoom then. You guys really were on Zoom.
90% of it was. You saw what it was. You can just edit. I mean, you can edit all that stuff on Zoom. Zoom will capture it for you, and so. But it was 90% shot on Zoom, and that was adaptability. I think it was just so fun.
So how much of it was scripted? How much of it was improv, or was it all scripted, all improv? Like, how did it come together?
Go ahead, Brian.
Go ahead.
No. I've been talking. You haven't talked yet, so we want to hear from Brian Dykstra.
I think I would say we scripted the vast majority of it, and the goal was to make it seem like a Zoom meeting where you didn't script anything. So
I
I got totally paranoid that it sounded scripted because it was 100% scripted, guys. It was so scripted.
We had a couple of pockets there.
A pocket. Yeah, there were pockets. Yeah,
Like that. Can you hear me? That was a little bit of scripted. That was a little.
Yeah, that was
improv-y.
never right.
Yeah.
So I would pitch a scene and I would write it, and then Darian would pitch a scene and he would write it, and then I would write another scene, and then he'd write another scene, and Darian came up with a hug at the end, and I was dubious, but I thought I'll give it a shot.
That's not what you said. You said you loved it, by the way.
No, because remember the original commission was the original commission was stipulated. The only piece of direction we got was that we had to have a positive ending.
Oh.
Yeah, they said we're commissioning you to write this. You can write anything you want. It has to have a positive ending.
I did not know that.
Or have hope.
I did not know that.
Hope, yeah.
I didn't know that.
You're fired.
I didn't know that. Wow, interesting.
We were fired because the theater company felt that we were making fun of them.
I don't know that we know that's true.
Oh, I thought that's a quote.
No, I don't know. Let's not get into that, shall we?
Someone's being politic.
We love them.
And someone's not. Okay.
They're good people.
Can we go to somewhere else? It's getting awkward up here.
All right. Well, first off,
we'll continue this later. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
For me, I don't know how all of you felt, but I felt like a lot of it was improv, and I mean that in a good way, right? That's why I asked how much of it was improv, because sometimes when you're performing, you'll have blocking, right? And for those in the audience who may not be familiar, like blocking, at a certain point you have to be at a certain place and say a certain thing, and I thought you guys gave yourselves room in between the improv. So I love that. Can we give that up for them real quick?
And one thing I just want to add to Margaret's credit was I think there was a point when we were doing it and we were kind of doing it a little heightened. And I remember you giving us a note about really just make it conversational so that things are kind of just happening versus...
I was really worried about the opening.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, okay. I was like, that opening seemed so scripted, and I was like,
right.
Can we, remember we worked on that opening to make it
You're
really...
just having a Zoom conversation.
I have no memory of that.
To me, the two of you seemed like you were being awkward around one another, like, oh, we're supposed to start. How do we start this? That's where I really thought the improv began, where Margaret was like, all right, I've done everything I can. Fuck Zoom. You two just talk about trying to get it to work. And the both of you like, oh, okay, yeah, right? One of the most difficult things to do, I think, as an actor is to do nothing. Right, and I felt like there was a lot of dead space that worked though, and again, I don't know how many of you have experience as an actor, but that dead space can be really scary. I'm about to lose the audience right now, but that's what made it feel real, and that's why I asked about how much was scripted and whatnot. So how many takes did you do on Zoom, and at any point did Zoom fail on you?
Oh, yeah. Well, the dead space is actually comic gold, right? So the silence is where you get the laughs. So somehow trusting that dead space is what you have to do, But I know there were 4 takes of the section where Brian is playing around with the filters. Because I just wanted to see that over and over again.
That was improv. The hardest thing about that was something would work, and then you want to repeat it, and then it wouldn't work the second time. So yeah, that was all improv. I mean, we found some filters that we thought this is funny.
Ridiculous.
But the order that they came up.
But then the glasses. I mean, that was just you guys riffing, really. Yeah.
We definitely did. There were long chunks, particularly that first half into the duet, where I think we did a good, like you said, I think maybe 4 takes tops of a good 30 minutes or whatever of whatever we had, and then we were able to use that, and Mark was able to cut a little bit, but not a whole lot. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I got one more question. So all of you, if you have a question, we're going to go to you next. So if you want to think about it, polish it, and you can ask them. But one of the things that I saw, because I understand maybe people who do film and TV, they know how to set this up. What was it like for the two of you and Margaret, the 3 of you, to put it together where you were talking and you had to answer each other, but I saw or I'm assuming you didn't film it at the same time, unless you did. Or you did? Not on Zoom, but I mean when you were walking in the park, were you? Oh, you two really were on the. I just thought this was great editing. I was about to give you all the props in the world, Margaret, but Brian took it away.
No, but you're right though. When we were shooting, me, I'm there, but Brian's off camera, right? So we can get that conversation going, and then you kind of put it all together, right?
Wasn't there, I felt like I had to follow you. I had a phone, and I had to follow you so you could hear, remember? And then we had to, the hardest thing was ducking out the other person's dialogue.
Right. Why is Brian shaking your head? You're sick.
What was I doing?
Maybe. My
It was
phone
very
worked.
technical
My phone
crew.
worked. I could see him and tape and hear him, but I think you couldn't hear. This doesn't work. You couldn't hear me, but Margaret could hear me.
Yeah, so I was following you with my phone, and so you could hear the audio. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It was something weird like that.
Yeah.
Because we did record. There's a snippet of it where we recorded from Zoom, and then we broke out of that and used Margaret's awesome 4K camera, to make it really look nice. So yeah, but definitely a couple of little things we had to figure out. But yeah. Again, creative resilience, man.
No, it all seemed natural to me. Even the silence, it felt like the awkward was supposed to be there because a regular conversation would be like that. So that's why I was asking about improv and whatnot. Because sometimes as actors we need that extra split second to improv a line or whatever. So the timing of all that worked as far as I felt. But what do I know? Nonetheless, is there anyone in here who has a question, an inquiry, a comment? No? Here we go.
What were the theater's objections?
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 You were making fun of them.
And I think that it was that they did not like meta, was what we were told.
I felt like there was two things going on. I think that, they didn't, to be fair to them, they didn't see it, right? They just read it. So
That's true.
Was it too political? I don't know. But
I think there was a little bit of that.
Yeah, the feedback that I got was that it felt like it was making fun of the concept of what they were trying to do, which was put together a series that was good for,
And for us to say, well, this doesn't work, I think they were kind of like, well...
Yeah, and then I think...
that's a slap in the face. Didn't you say it was something? But it was
yeah, it felt like a slap in the face. And if you just didn't like it, then you shouldn't have accepted the commission, I guess. And then I think that also meta is a problem for a lot of people. I got some feedback about not liking meta, but it's curious to me. I love meta so much. If something's meta, I'll watch meta till meta. If you haven't seen Staged, it's David Tennant and Michael Sheen. We actually watched it in the middle of doing this, and we're like, oh my God, we've stolen from them, they've stolen from us. We had the same idea at the same time. Damn it! But it's a great TV show, Staged, where they shoot basically on Zoom, although they cheat more than we do, but they had money. So.
So did you come up with the title first, or did that come later?
The first, am I on? Yeah, the first meeting, the title, I have received a couple of commissions, and every time I do, the first thing that occurs to me is how to flip it on its head. So, and sometimes I think about how to flip it on its head, and then I go, that's not going to work. So this time I thought, let's do a piece about Zoom theater, because it's Zoom theater. So this doesn't work. Well, I think that's the first meeting. Within 15 minutes, we sort of articulated that that's what we would try.
And what's the this,
Well, this.
When we started, this doesn't work, what's the this? And
there you go.
Then the this became everything. It wasn't just...
Let's open it up.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just about theater, it's about
the world.
Politics and the world that we're in right now. And so that once we were able to explore that, I think that's what really allowed us to be able to create the duet, which I think was exciting. So
that's where I wanted to go next with the question, is because it went from this doesn't work, having to do theater and complaining about everything. Like now as artists, actors, you have to go through, you're like, I'm a stage actor, and I go, and I'm a stage director, and all this. So like at what point in the process did you feel, let's open it up now, let's talk about more things that don't work? Or who was the first to initiate it?
I think thematically we knew it's like, okay, so we've already kind of done individuals. What would be the next kind of step thematically? What's going to be an interesting color to do? And then it was like, we should do a duet. Well, what hasn't the duet covered yet? And so I think me and Brian, we just started going 2 lines each. So you do 2, I do 2.
Didn't you write it in an email back and forth to each other?
Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. The duet, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we fudged each other's, like, some of the stuff I wrote, Darian took some of those lines, some of the stuff he wrote, I took some of his lines, and then we fight, you know, you just start messing around, and then it's all okay. Yeah.
Is there, oh wait, is there another question
Well,
if I keep going on?
I do want to say, like, the one thing that was weird is you're in the middle of a piece that's called This Doesn't Work, and the job becomes, it has to work enough that it's entertaining.
There you go.
So you can't break it, but you've got to do things that don't work. So that was the chore. The chore is like figuring out what the meta, if you didn't do this meta, you couldn't do it. It just wouldn't work.
But I remember when we had conversations about who the antagonist was in our play, not to get too like dramaturgical, but the antagonist became technology.
Technology, right.
And so if we kept that in mind as we were working through it, then the politics could be anything because there's so much that doesn't work there, you know, that theme would continue to ride through, but that the technology being the antagonist, and then Darian came up with the idea of like the construction work outside, you know, and you're like, yeah, or the technology breaks down, you know, so that, I think that was, it sort of worked for me on 2 levels.
Well, and plus once the technology was the antagonist, then we could keep positive choices going. We could keep entertaining each other or being caught off guard. And, you know, there was no conflict that wasn't a comic conflict between the actors because we had a common enemy, which was technology.
So I want to ask you, what did you learn from this experience that you feel you can take into future projects that are just on stage, though? Right? Like, I think the easy question would be, what have you learned that if you have another opportunity, how would you different? What would you do different? I'm interested in knowing that because this was a foreign process to you in some ways. Is there anything you learned in this process that you're like, you know what? When the theaters open up, we're going to try to do this, or we're going to keep this in mind and that in mind, or no, is this just totally like, you know what, this paid our rent, fuck it, we're moving on in life?
I have a very specific answer to this question,
Awesome.
which is trust your artists. When you get to work with people like Darian and Brian, it's just like the trust that you have with them and being able to, you know, shoot it to Darian, him going, no, you need more. Yep. Let's trust your artists. And I think that actually started with the original theater company that didn't trust the artists. And that became sort of a theme of like, okay, we can do this. Let's trust each other. And I kind of took that in. I had just worked in a project. There's 2 of the actors here tonight that I did my last show with. And it was just a total trust situation going on. And I feel like that came out of this project.
So I want Brian and Darian to answer this, but I just real quick I want to follow up. When you say trust, right? Just in case for those who may not be familiar with the process, what do you mean trust them? You trust they're going to show up on time? They're going to remember their lines? What do you mean by saying you trust them?
Because a director can be a dictator, right? Or a director can be a collaborator. And if you've got people that you trust as artists, as creators, and you can just watch them and encourage their choices, then you'll find something beautiful. But if you try to make everything the way you want it, it will never be as good as the collaborative effort that comes between working with great artists.
Awesome. Darian?
I'll say for me, and I mentioned this earlier tonight. It's about gratitude. I think more than anything else in terms of what I'm taking as a live performer and being everything right now, because there's still kind of few and far in between. We're still very much in this pandemic, but everything still feels incredibly potent. Everything still feels a bit surreal to kind of be in a room with people. And so I know as a performer, I value that so much more than I think I did before. And so if anything, that allows all of us to really live in the moment a little bit more, which I think is a good thing. So yeah.
That's what your poem was about, really.
Yeah.
That poem was, man, Darian, you went to new heights on that one.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, right? Isn't that beautiful? That was beautiful.
And I also want to give props to Margaret because I have worked with Darian and he can be difficult. Okay, I just want to say no, but he's really good though. He's really good.
Darian's opinionated.
No, he is.
And we love it.
And the thing is that when you collaborate, you want to work with someone who's difficult because then you know they care, right? As opposed to like a yes man, yes woman, whoever, you know. So no, I love working with Darian. I appreciate
that you use the word difficult. I say, I'm just, I push everyone to be the best that they can be.
Amen.
And we'll leave it at that, Advocate of Wordz.
I saw the Michael Jordan documentary, and that is exactly how he was. All right, MJ. We're going to go to LeBron now. Brian Dykstra, what did you learn from this experience, if anything, that you would bring to life?
I learned I would work with these two anytime.
Aww.
No, it's true. I don't know, actually. There's been a sort of confirmation. I was working with an actor a while ago who mentioned the concept of hip-hop theater, in that an actor who is aware that there's an audience, even in King John or a modern play, if you're aware that there's an audience in a way that's not about ego, it's just about being and understanding that they're there. That's hip hop. That's a hip hop acting style, and I feel like it can actually happen in film too. And so that sense that you got from about improv, and it's just an awareness of where you are and being present in the where you are in a different way than I've thought about acting before. Like, of course you have to be present. If you're not present, who cares? But this sort of meta-awareness is an interesting place to land at 61. To sort of just accepting that we are in a room together too. Like, my partner and I are having a scene, and it's real, and it's happening. And also, there's an audience, and I'm not crazy. All actors know there's an audience, but then to let that in and to understand it and to even include them in a way that your acting teachers would shit on you for, it feels really right in a new kind of way. So this sort of helped confirm that in a way.
That's beautiful, and to think about just, the awesomeness of the craft of acting, that you're still finding things, I think is incredibly amazing. And also too, I think it sounds like you're landing in something that feels like that is more the truth. You're accepting the truth of what is actually happening in the moment, which the more that you're living in the truth, then how could it not help your performance, So.
And it's also like in the now, and the now.
Although in the wrong hands,
in
the wrong hands, the danger is commenting or winking at the audience.
Sure. Yes.
There's plenty of pitfalls. But
I like a good wink.
I like a good wink. That's good.
Sure.
All right, I was told to wrap it up, but I do want to ask you one more question. I'm going to give one comment and one question. One, I'm going to go back to you talked about like technology is the antagonist. I like the fact then that like you hugged at the end, right? Because like it felt like it came full circle. The antagonist was defeated at the end. So I really appreciated that. But the last question I have before we go, and of course, DarianDauchan.com, BrianDykstra.net. If you have questions, you want to reach out to them again. Both of you have done like TV and film at some point, even though you may have done more stage, right? So explain to me why this isn't like TV and film and recording in front of a camera and this is theater. Like where do you see the difference in saying, no, we're gonna call this theater, even though like it's filmed and it's not live? How do you distinguish between the two?
We didn't call it theater.
This is TV.
Yeah, I mean, we're not calling this any. What are we calling? What are we calling this?
I mean, it's film.
It's film.
It's a little
Or I think a lot of people, a term has been made for digital.
Made for digital.
I think you did. Yeah, I saw you put something that I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
something digital. That was time pass. We're working on another. We just finished another project together that Brian wrote for a
Perhaps
theater.
you can check it out.
Yeah, the resident acting company commissioned him to write a play, and then we just finished it, and I asked Darian to do the soundtrack for it because I learned something during this one that Darian is awesome, and but that was called Time Passes Something Digital, and in that one we really get into it is meta, but we are exploring what is theater, what makes theater, and I don't think we answer the question necessarily, but I don't know. I wouldn't call this theater. I would call this digital.
I will say though, as an actor, I think you're right because I primarily do theater. So interesting enough to have to work with this many like cameras and things like that. I feel like my film stuff has gotten better because of the amount of camera stuff that we do now. And you really can kind of see yourself and all the kind of, ticks and stuff that you have that I think I think that's also made me a better actor is to be able to know how to really look a certain way on camera now, which is one of the things I can take away from this. So yeah.
Awesome. So, one more time, can we please get up Darian Dauchan, Brian Dykstra, and Margarett Perry. We appreciate y'all coming out. Oh, do we have one more thing you want to say?
Yes.
Darian's going to do a piece, isn't he?
I just want to make sure we end on a high note. I was going to do a whole thing, but I'm going to play something from... No, I'm just going to do something. I'm good here.
Do you need the stand though, or
no? No, I don't need the stand. Yeah. But I want to play something from a new piece I'm working on. It's a hip-hop remix of Handel's Messiah. And I just wanted us to make sure that we ended on a good standing. I'm not going to do all the stuff I was going to do, but this is just to kind of get us leaving on a positive note. Here we go. Let 'em know, 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 let 'em know. Yo, stand up, stand up, stand up, that's right. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. You can move, yo, My people stand up, everybody stand up, woke people stand up. Woke people stand up, may the unjust slain rise up. Comatose people wake up. Collective action is a must in the squad we trust. It's time to stand up. It's time to speak up. Will you stand for justice? Will you stand for us? Can't nobody do it but us. Stand strong, though the road is long. We got to hold on. Stand up, stand tall. United as one, we won't fall. If you have the gall, when your moment comes, will you stand? Listen to your heart and you can hear the plan. Listen to your heart and you can hear the plan. Listen to your heart and you can hear the plan. Stand up, 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 stand up. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We appreciate it. Happy holidays. Please enjoy your winter break. We appreciate you guys coming out. Get home safe. Peace, poetry, progress, love supreme.
Describe the essence of human that's essential to continue. In fact, most of our matter is found within the balance. Opposites attract and challenge. Bang! Collisions skip way back as far as humanly possible, and you'll see change dominates. Time manipulates earthquakes and gateways. Open up at many vertex styles combine and connect with days. Better than this, they follow the night revolutions in sight. Jazz, rhythms, and poetic.